Yes.
Could you talk a little bit more about the Kupua tradition, and particularly what some of the meanings of the word Kupua are?
Kupua and the word Kalakupua come from the same thing. Kalakupua actually is the tradition. We usually shorten it, but Kalakupua is the tradition, and Kupua is the practitioner. Okay? Maui is called a Kupua. Maui Kupua is the term that is usually used. The translation of that is usually Maui the wonder worker, Maui the miracle worker, Maui the magician, Maui the trickster. Kupua has all those kinds of connotations, okay? Which goes along with the kinds of connotations you find among shaman traditions around the world too, exactly. The word itself, kupu, is to grow and spread and increase, okay? Pua is a flower, so into blossoming. And so the whole idea is to, if you look in the roots, it is to bring something from within and make it blossom. Another dictionary definition you'll find is one who is filled with mana, one who has a great deal of mana, which is spiritual power, which is the power that is used to influence or manifest or generate or create events. So this is why Kalakupua you'll find usually described as magic. And much of what the shamans do, or the Kupua do, is termed that, because if we look at Maui's tradition, why they talk to animals. Maui, for instance, spoke to animals. Maui could turn into an animal, but not just an animal. He could turn into a plant. He could turn into a rope. He had a great deal of freedom in that way. Maui also worked for the community. This is important understanding of the Kupua and the shamanic tradition. It's a community healer. Yes, work with individuals, but also work with the community. And many of the things that Maui did on his adventures was to bring the secret of fire. He found that in nature through the alai bird, according to legend, and brought the secret of fire and gave it to human beings. Maui pushed up the sky. There's a lot of spiritual meaning in this, but anyway, Maui pushed up the sky so people could walk upright. Maui captured the sun, made it slow down so that we had the seasons in these northern islands. At least the longer sunlight for some periods and shorter periods for others. Maui pulled up the islands so people would have a place to live. Many of these things that Maui did were things that benefited the community or humanity as a whole. Okay? This is the kind of thing the shaman does. Now, the tricks that Maui played were tricks on people who were arrogant, and even the so-called gods. He played tricks on them, got kicked out of heaven, played tricks, snuck back in, played more tricks. He was always bringing them down so that they didn't get so high and mighty. The Kupuas did this in Tahiti. There was a, you might call it a branch of this, called the Arioi Society. And they also would travel from island to island. And one of the things that they did would put on plays, and which if there was a chief who was getting out of hand, why they'd put on a play that would mock or make fun of the chief, so that the chief would get the message. And this society also, everywhere they went, when they landed on an island, if there was war, it had to stop. So they were the peace bringers, also of the islands. And it was the same connected tradition. They also did the hula. And in some of the societies, the dance was strongly associated with the Kupua, with the shamans. Okay. Here it developed into a separate, more or less separate tradition. Okay. So it gets from this some of the concepts, some of the ideas of Kupua. Many of the menehune were called Kupua. These things that you may have heard of that are usually talked about like elves and fairies, they were not. They were real people, and some of their descendants still live in these islands. And but in the stories, some of them, not all of them, but some of the menehune were also Kupua and had this tradition. They could do strange things.